Hey guys, welcome to episode 28 Between the Lanes. I'm Ralph.
And I'm Ron.
Today we got some hot topics. We got a couple giveaways and some race results. Here we go.
Race results first up. Here we go. So we're going to start off with the Mid-American Hard Body Series, and they were at Pro Slot Raceway racing on the what track is that? Paperclip.
Paperclip.
How similar is that to Paperclip you used to race on, Ralph?
It's a little less banked in the lead on and the 90, but other than that, real similar.
Okay.
Basically the same. It's just not quite as much banking.
Okay.
And the driver panel's in the same spot too.
Okay. So Hobby Stock was up first. Jim Kreider in the center was the winner with Rick Verlinsky, I believe is how we say his name, was second, and Wade K, which I'm not even going to begin to try and pronounce his name because it's different. So I think they even had it listed as Wade K in the results. But that was your top three in the Hobby Stock class, which that's the new class this year. So Super Stock was won by Rick Stagan with J.P. Milcherska second and Neil Eisler third. And what's kind of funny about this is I'm pretty sure that J.P. had to run a car with a Ford body on it because Stagan's kind of the Ford guy and J.P.'s the Chevy guy. So it's kind of funny to see J.P. running a Ford. So, and then in the Pony Stock,
they were identically painted, identical numbers and everything.
Yeah, team cars. And Pony Stock, Rick Stagan was the winner again, and Austin Milcherska was second, and Neil Eisler was third. And then a race we didn't really talk about, but the Frostbite 500 was at Auburn Raceway, and a good friend of yours and ours, Gary Clinton Jr., was the winner of that. And I guess that's a picture of his winning car and his $500 cash for winning. So pretty popular, a lot of modified racing going on up there in that New England area at a few tracks up there. So New England Retro Racing was at the Bristol 1010 Raceway, and in both Can-Am and Coupes, Dominic Luongo won both. Keith Libby was second in both, and Jordan Temple was third in both. So there's your top three for both classes. And they had the Jeff Nail 300 Memorial Race at Slot Cars R Us in White House, Tennessee. And the winner was Mark, followed by Rick and Kip. Sorry, I don't have any last names for you, but that's what was in the results. And it was a hard body race. And I think I read they raised like $500 and gave it to Jeff's wife.
Oh, that's cool.
That was pretty awesome. So the ORS was at Tom Thumb Hobbies in Columbus, Ohio, and this was like the annual R4 warm-up race, of course, because it's February. So in the coupe class, Cap Henry was the winner. Rick Starkey was second, and I'm sweating to the oldies, Rudy was third. And in Can-Am, Cap was the winner again. Jason Dennis was second, and Raisin was third. And in F1, Cap pulled off the sweep by winning in F1 with Greg Fox second, and Ross Scharf was third. You'd think that Greg Fox would be wearing a Fox shirt, wouldn't you? But it's good to see Ross out racing.
Yeah.
So it was also the 26th Annual U.S. Nationals at Tri-State Slot Car Raceway, which used to be, TR Motorplex. And so this was the 26th Annual U.S. Drag Nationals. And as you can see, they ran a lot of races. So in a low roller race, Steve Collier was the winner and the runner-up, with Butch England winning the semi. In the high rollers race, Cameron won, which he's on the right, and Steve was runner-up. Well, Steve was runner-up in that. And then in the gamblers race, we had Steve winning with Jaden, the runner-up. And in the warm-up race, JR was the winner, and the runner-up was Woody. And the Index 1190 class, Ryan was the winner. Cameron was the runner-up, and Decker won the semi. And Index 1090, Decker was the winner, and Fuzz was the runner-up. Index 990, we had Mark Ishbaugh was your winner. Daryl was second, or the runner-up, and TK was a semi-winner. In Open Comp, Carson Griffith was your winner. Decker was the runner-up, and Daryl was the semi-winner. And these are the top three of the bracket, but they didn't have any names listed. But I still wanted to put their picture up in case they're watching. But I never could find out who these top three guys were. So the AWRA was at Staunton, Virginia. And the GT1 class, Nick Brantley was the winner. Tommy Campbell was second. Bobby Prout was third. In the stock car class, Nick doubled up and was the winner in that. Tommy was second again, and a gentleman named Grumpy was third. No last name or first name.
He didn't look too grumpy in the picture.
No, he didn't, did he? And in the Legends race, Tommy Campbell was the winner, followed by Brian and Dink. Great Lakes Retro Series, along with the Midwest Slot Car Series combo race, was at Real Speed Raceway in Fort Wayne on the Ogilvy King. This King was built in the early 90s. It was the track that the 1996 USRA Nationals was held on. And in the Can-Am class, I was the winner, followed by Steve Pepler and Dale Wilson. In the LMP class, Joe Ligori was the winner with Terry Watson second and Dale Wilson third again. F1, I was the winner. Joe was second, and Lonnie Batts was third. In the GTP, I won again with Lonnie second and Terry third. And then we will go to the Rebel Series at the slot car track in Concord, North Carolina. And in the NASCAR class, Walker McNulty was first, Randy McNulty was second, and Josh Barber was third. In the trucks class, Walker won again, followed by Josh and Randy. In LMP, it was Walker first, Josh second, and Joe Lomax was third. And in the dirt late model class, Walker pulled off the quadruple sweep by winning dirt late model with Randy McNulty second and Josh Barber third. Slot Car Raceway in California, at Rohnert Park, California, home of the 2018 USRA Division II Nats. They had a warm-up race this weekend, and a pretty decent crowd on hand. There's some of the guys that were there. And in the LMP class, Justin Colvin was the winner, Jason Hooper second, and Brian Canetti, I think is how we say his name, was third. GTP, it was Justin winning again with Jason Hooper second, and Ryan Vegas McDaniel in third. GT12, Jason Hooper was the winner. Ryan was second. Justin Colvin was third. And in the 24th Eurosport class, Jason Hooper won again with Chris Croft second and Justin in third. And that's
Boom, winning
reports for last weekend.
Okay. Sunday.
Okay, this Sunday we've got, of course, we got the FNRS race down at Hobby Max in Durham, North Carolina. You've got the AWRA as having the West Virginia Womp Nats in Beckley, West Virginia. USCA is at Mid-America in Bloomington, Illinois. Retro East is at Speed Zone, Mount Holly, New Jersey. And the GER Series is at Fast Eddie's in Pinellas Park, Florida. And Powell, there you go, Robin. You know, a lot of guys kind of sent messages and said, I'm Batman and you're Robin. So, did you get any messages?
No. Just ones to the page or whatever, you know.
Okay. Just putting that out there. Hot topics. So, Of course, last week we talked about the new wing car group. They kind of started off by saying they were the new USRA, but I believe it was last Friday they made a formal announcement that they are now the North American Slot Racing Association, or NASRA, and I think they're still working on rules and stuff like that, but they're going to have their nationals in August at Slot Cars R Us in White House, Tennessee. And I think I seen the other day they're going to have a warm-up race, I think Father's Day weekend in June. They'll have their first Nats warm-up race for the NASRA. And is that the track you started on?
Yes, it is.
Because that picture was floating around on Facebook this week. And do you know where this picture is taken? Was this the raceway you raced in, or is this picture from someplace else?
No. My guess is that was when it was set up in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
Possibly.
Okay.
But that is the track, and it is currently in storage.
And that is an Engelman, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay.
The person who owns it will tell you it's a Revell, but I don't agree. I believe it's an Engelman.
Well, Revell never really made a layout like that.
Right.
And obviously it was a custom layout for whoever it was originally built for. I mean, this is probably the only one of its kind in existence.
Those hills were something.
I'm sure they were.
And then when you came out of the bank, you came down the hill into a 180, and then that straightaway is nothing but S's.
Right, yeah.
So
I think this was a custom one-off kind of track when it was probably built.
I mean, we'd run like 16 tooth pinions on that thing.
I can believe that.
It's a big track.
Oh, yeah.
220 feet or something.
Yeah, it has to be 220.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you had told me before, and I thought this was nice. I seen the picture. I thought, well, let's just pop this up here. And how old were you when you started racing?
Well, I started racing on this track probably when I was 14.
But you had been racing before that?
Yeah, I'd raced a little bit, but not a lot. This is when I got serious, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still trying to be serious?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Well, I had to ask. And that's all, folks. So we got a message from Dave Rees about negative and positive motor brushes.
You want to know if there's benefit to running a Coford or a Pro Slot on the positive side, and then the other brand on the negative side, basically.
And I think most guys run the Gold Dust on the negatives. Well, I shouldn't say most guys. Some guys run the negative or the Pro Slot brush on the negative side and the Coford brush on the positive side, I think.
Right.
What I've kind of seen in the past. I don't again.
And the reason for that the people who do it tell me is they want a harder brush on the side that wears out quicker.
That being the negative side of the motor?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've personally, not that I really monitor it, but I've never really ever noticed one brush being way shorter than the other in my motors in all the years I've raced.
I have.
I haven't measured them with calipers, but I mean, I've never visually been able to see a difference. Like, ooh, this one really wears down.
Yeah.
And
I have, but I never got into the running two different brushes.
Right. And so I know that was a big thing in RC motors. Like they would run, I'm not going to say they ran different brushes per se, but they would run different spring tension. And I've heard of guys running more tension, I think, on the negative side than the positive side. And I can't remember exactly how we did it in RC motors, but I could probably figure out for next week. But, they would run.
You are on assignment.
Yeah, I'm on assignment now. So, but they would run two different springs. And when Fast Ones did RC motors, we ran the same tension on both sides of the motor, and our motors ran pretty good. So I don't know that I don't personally believe in running two different compounds of brushes because you make a brush track or a film, you put a film on the commutator, and I don't know.
You're mixing your films,
Correct, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried that thing a couple of races, and I could not see any difference. So I don't know. I mean, and I've seen other guys that kind of swear by it, but again, it's not a huge popular thing. But and I'm sure everyone has a different opinion on it. But I always try and run the same compound of brushes into my motors, same tension. So, but hey. Play around and see if you learn something. I mean,
and another thing that got brought up too on Slot Car Race Talk was braids.
Again.
Yeah, again, and we covered this before, but we can go over it again real quick. So,
sure.
I guess basically the person was trying to say was looking for an alternative to Prime is because they couldn't get Prime. So. Prime is out there some places. It's harder to find. But
well, the question is what braid do you guys use?
Right. And for me, I run Prime or Parma Big Mama.
Yeah, same here.
And then somebody brought up you can't find Prime. Well, you can some places. Like a large batch was just released, but the distributor limited how many each raceway could buy. Most of it got bought up by the bigger retail stores, retail websites, like PCH or Mid-America, places like that. I just recently got some, so it can be found.
Right.
But I prefer Prime or Big Mama. Somebody brought up the paw. I didn't have good luck with it. I thought it was a little soft and it folded up when I hit the wall. And I didn't really like that myself. But a lot of people say they like it.
I haven't tried the paw.
It's fun. It depends what you're running to. If you're running a wing car, then you're going to want something a little bit stiffer probably.
Right.
Flexi cars, Womps, stuff like that, you're going to want something, just a normal 408 strand probably. So, but paw is pretty popular because it is pretty cheap. And then I think Big Mama is probably the most expensive, but I mean, man, you're just never gonna have a problem with it though,
Right.
So.
Yep. I mean, again, I haven't tried paw braid. I've only seen it hanging in one raceway in my travels in the last few months. So, I don't know. I don't think raceways are going to buy it just to hang it. I think they'll buy braid as they need it. And then sometimes you can only, what's hanging on the wall is all the raceway can get at that time because
right.
Like everyone's got supply problems from time to time on braid anymore. So,
right.
But I mean, I haven't had no problems getting Prime in the last 6 months.
Yeah, me either. But some people have.
And I haven't bought any Big Mama, but I can't. I mean, but it's been hanging where I've been. So, but I've just had a good bunch of Prime that I'm going through. I think I got about 20 pair of Big Mama in my box, but my Big Mama right now is a little stiffer than the Prime.
Okay.
But they're both like really close. There's some braid out there that's way softer, and there's some out there that's stiffer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I like the stiffness of those two braids. I can't really see much difference from one or the other, Big Mama or Prime.
Yeah.
Like I can.
I mean, to me, I don't want something that's too soft because it's going to lay too flat.
Right.
And more importantly, when you get in a crash, it just kind of like distorts or folds up real easy, and that's no good for me.
Let's see if you're being serious.
I crash a lot, so.
Well, if you're being serious, you shouldn't be crashing.
Yeah.
So, but other than that,
And then something too stiff, obviously, is the nose of the car is never going to lay down flat enough.
Right.
So.
Right. You might be able to get away with stiffer stuff if in a deeper braid recess.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. I mean, like this weekend, I mean, we raced at real speed, and again, the track is, I guess, getting close to 30 years old because I think that track was built in '91, and there's some parts of that track that's got some really deep recess. I mean, we're talking 80, 90 thousandths.
Wow.
And it's kind of a difficult track to set up for because the top turn is, like I said, it's like 70, 80,000 steep. So you get your car to go through the top turn, but then other parts of the track, your front end's higher because the recess isn't as deep. So you got to just find that happy medium and go with it. I mean, I added like 40 to 50 thousandths on my retro cars and 40 on my flexi car. And it's kind of funny because like, and I needed someday to race. I'm going to probably videotape this and we'll put it up. But how to set your guide spacing and stuff using the track to do that. And I'd set my Can-Am and F1 cars up based on the depth of the top turn, and the cars were pretty good, but they still weren't right. So I thought, well, we'll take 10 thousandths out, and that made the car better for sure. And then what was kind of weird was like in the flexi car, I added 40 to start off with, and was kind of rubbing fairly hard on the front, and thought, well, let's just put another 20 in there. Well, then the car just went to a big pile of crap. I mean, like, we're talking 2/10. Didn't want to come to the top turn, so I took 10 back out, and it really didn't change much. So I just took the other 10 out, went back to the original 40, and that was as good as it was going to get. But, we talked about this on the show too. Like when the bottom of your car is black, are you actually dragging the track or are you just scraping rubber? And it was obviously that we were scraping rubber because on Friday night, everything was perfect. But we ran GTP like after the other three classes. So that's when the track got the most rubbered up or, had got more and more rubber on it. So it was obviously just scraping the rubber off.
Yeah.
So the car wasn't dragging the track, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but again, 20,000 spacing was 2/10. I mean, it made your car either there or not there.
Right.
And same thing with the retro car. I mean, like, I put the 60 in and, I was running okay, but then it was like, well, let's take another 10 out and boom. I mean, you go from running on that track, like 4.5s is a pretty good time for Can-Am. You take 10 out and you go from running high 4.5s to like high to mid 4.4s. You've hit something. So, and that was just changing the guide spacing, not messing with anything else.
And one thing you can do if you, because sometimes like nowadays with these Red Fox guys, like they're a real pain in the ass to keep taking on and off. For me, anyway.
What do you mean by they're difficult to take off?
They're too thick, and the nuts are just really hard to thread on.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a piece of tape and I'll stick it to the bottom of the guide flag.
Yep.
And you can kind of build layers of tape up, and that'll do the same thing as changing guide spacers. So if you're in a hurry or you just want to try adding spacers without having to take the guide flag on and off a lot, you can it's a quick way to do it too. And then, of course, you can peel it back off layer by layer or whatnot also.
Right.
So
now, how thick is the tape, you think?
Well, I mean, it's different. I mean, you can use like sometimes I'll use electrical tape or strapping tape. It just depends,
Okay.
And you can also fine tune like that because you can find something that's like a couple foul.
Right.
So you don't want to put a 5 in. You just want to try 1 or 2 or something. So. It's just something to try for people to try if they want to fool around or try something different.
And see, back to braid too. That was another thing too. And I was going to take a picture to show on the show, but I forgot to do it. The Can-Am qualifying was really tight, and the top two guys weren't that. I mean, me and Uncle Bob were kind of out there, but when you got like third through eighth, we had 17 guys, so there was 9 in the B, 8 in the A. So, like I think the last, okay, so like first, second, third, fourth, the fifth qualifiers, the top 5 qualifiers ran 4.5 something or faster. But then there was a slew of guys that run 4.62, 4.63, 4.64. And I can never help but ask myself, when I look at some of these, I mean, like, my thing has always been, when you're going to qualify, before you bring the car to tech, you put new braid in the car, comb it out, maybe run it a couple laps before you tech it in. And, you've got nice, fresh braid on your car. Because, I don't know if you ever know, sometimes in practice you change your braid and your car really picks up. Even though your old braid doesn't look bad,
right.
It's just like you put new braid in, like, wow. Okay.
I don't ever put my car in tech without putting new braid on it.
Okay. Yeah, that's just a standard rule of thumb. But some of these guys brought cars up and, it's like, wow, when'd you guys change your braid last? So you've got a guy that's like 460, he's just a thousandth or two from
making the show.
B-main. And it's like, man, if you changed your braid,
probably would have had that.
You might have been in the 4.5s. So
I don't think I've ever changed my braid and went slower. So
no.
So
right.
Even if you don't go faster, I didn't go slower. So.
I mean, I've changed brands of braid. I had let's say, for example, I had new Big Mama in my car, and then I put new Big Mama, I had new Big Mama, and I put a new Prime in, and my car picked up, or maybe it slowed down. But again, that goes, maybe it's down to the braid stiffness deal. So, I mean, I don't check every brand of braid when I go test. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, I know there's been times where I've went from something that was stiff to something that was softer, or vice versa, and picked up time, even though both were brand new pairs of braid. So,
right.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, going back to the braid thing, I mean, I look at something and I'm thinking, like, because I was going to turn the cars upside down and just take a picture of like the 5th through the 9th or 10th place cars, and then say, because you could probably say, wow, this car's braid was horrible. So
sure, I mean, that could have been all the difference in the world.
Right. So
qualifying, especially.
Yep. New braid when you qualify.
Yeah.
And then, I think I got one braid wadded up in a crash or something during one race, and I had to change it. But, between brushing in between heats and putting braid juice on it, I mean, I ran 8 heats on braid in 2 classes. I think in GTP I needed to change because it was burning a little bit on the one end. But other than that, I mean,
right.
that's kind of some. I need to take more photos of things that I see wrong on cars, and we can use them here on the show. And
we should maybe do that at the FNRS race.
Now everybody will be on their tippy toes and have everything.
I can't tell how many times I'm teching cars and I see something, and I mean, if it's really bad, I'll tell the person. I'll say, hey, like, are you
right?
Sure you don't want more than one solder joint on your motor, or are you sure you don't want to change the braid, or
go trim this rear wheel out?
Probably getting ready to strip or something,
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, see a lot of crazy stuff doing tech.
Right.
And sometimes the cars make it through the race, and you're just like, man, if that had been me, I'd have been done after 2 laps.
Well, see, that's another one of those deals too. Like, I had another kind of oddity happen in the GTP race. trying to think where I started on that race. I guess I started on blue, I think. Yeah. Started on blue. So I ran blue, purple, black, yellow, went to orange. Run the first couple of laps in that heat, and then I noticed the car kind of bogging in the donut.
Okay.
Like, okay, so I come by the next lap, and it bogs a little more, and third lap it bogs a little more, and I'm like, something's spinning on the back of the car. So I stopped, I picked it up, I grabbed a hold of the right side tire and grabbed a hold of spur gear, and I thought I could feel it loose. So I ran over and grabbed the Allen wrench, and I went to tighten the gear. Well, I was holding the car by the tires. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
By the time I went to tighten it, I felt the gear side tire snap.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's the tire.
Yeah.
So I tightened the tire, and then, of course, I had no more problems. But it was kind of bizarre that I had run 5 heats. Well, blue, purple.
And it just backed itself up just enough to be spinning and cause a problem.
4 heats, I had no problem. And then 3 laps or 2 laps into the 5th heat, I can feel it.
That's another thing I'll do before tech. I mean, I'll put on new braid, and I'll take it and I'll hold one side and see if I can turn the other, and vice versa. And if I can turn something, you got to tighten it. You know,
right.
That will cause you a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a wheel come loose in, I don't know, a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, it was just kind of bizarre how it could be tight for 4 heats and then it loosens up. But I'm not one to really check my set screws through a race either.
The more common thing is the gear loosening up and the side-to-side play getting more and more as the race goes on. You know, you're stripping gears and binding up and stuff like that.
Yep. So, yeah, it was kind of an oddity for me. I mean, it's not like the first time it's ever happened, but I'm just saying it's always weird how you can run a car for 4 heats, not have a problem, and all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
But, and I've seen pinions spin like that because the motor finally gets to a certain temperature to where
it melted the solder.
Right. Or it wasn't soldered. Like in flexi cars, if you spin a pinion, it just wasn't soldered correctly to begin with.
Yeah. And that's something and putting pinions on, I read all the time people doing Loctite, but I'm sorry, there's just no way you're going to catch me using Loctite.
No
way. I don't trust it at all.
I did a video on soldering a pinion on too. So, you can go to the Slot Racer channel on YouTube and look that up and see how to correctly solder on a pinion for flexi car racing and most racing in general. I mean, when you get in Group 7 cars nowadays, they're pinning the pinions and putting safety wire on them or whatever to keep them from spinning. But 27s and down, you don't need to do all that.
Right.
If the pinion's soldered on correctly, it should not spin.
Right.
So, but sometimes again, they'll spin for no reason. So.
Yeah, and then like if they spin the end of the heat, or if they spin, then you go pick the car up. Sometimes it can have enough time to cool back off where you get to it, and it re-engages itself, and then you're like, "What's going on?" You
put the car on the track and you run 3 or 4 laps, and it spins again.
Yeah.
And you're trying to, I don't know. First thing is you always try and tighten the spur gear, and you got to be careful doing that because if you go too much, then you strip it. So then you go over and you change that. You come back to find out your pinion's spinning. So you just keep compounding the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing that happens quite often, and whenever it happens, I know what it is immediately, and I tell the person, and they always say, no, that can't be it. But is if you're using Slick 7 bushings, you have to oil those. Like
every heat.
At least every other, but probably every heat. Because if you don't, you're just taking a risk. It's just going to seize up. and the axle is going to gall the bushings, and it's just going to be seized.
Yep.
And every time I see it happen, I know exactly what it is, and I tell them, I said, you got to go oil those bushings and break them free by hand if you have to go on the bushings or axle.
Well, the first time I ever ran those, first and only time I ever ran them, I locked them up. I mean, somebody built me a car and they gave it to me and didn't tell me those were in there. And I just
People
missed.
always think it's the motor that locked up, not the
Well, I missed oil in them one heat, and I went into the bank, and this thing locked up and gave me 9 cents change. I mean, like,
yeah.
I had to go over and I had to cut the axle in two and then heat up the oil lights to get it apart.
Yeah.
Because they were that locked up. I mean, you couldn't even turn them with a pair of vice grips.
Yeah, they seize up and they just get galled so bad. It's just you're lucky if you're going to get them out.
Yep.
I think that happened at Mark's or something when we were at Mark's last year. Somebody did that.
Yeah, it seems like we were somewhere in somebody's lot.
They were swore to me it was the motors. No way it could be the bushings. I was like,
right.
Well, I got $5. Says it's the bushings.
And you were $5 richer, or maybe not.
No, I didn't make them pay.
Okay. So, what other topics?
I feel like this is a trick or a test of some sort.
Okay, so what's your opinion? Okay, so this came up today too. What's your take on like overpowering a car to take motors out of the equation?
Well, I think it has its pluses, but it also has its minuses.
Okay.
Theoretically, that sounds great to take the motor out of the equation, but I think the problem you're going to have is everyone's going to, not everybody, but a lot of people are going to be going so fast down the straightaway that they're just going to tear their shit up when they get in the corners. That's going to be one problem. And the other problem, too, is I think it's going to increase – I mean, it could increase the cost of the motors potentially because depending on what motor you're running, I guess.
Right.
If we're talking about, like, we're going to go put open motors and everything, well –
Yeah, but
price is going to go up. But
that wasn't – basically, I mean, the discussion today was putting, the $38 reworked Pro Slot Chinese armed X12 into, like, GTP flexi cars.
See, I don't see how that really be overpowered them really too much, to be honest with you.
Well, some tracks it would be, but some tracks, I mean, again, it depends on the track. I mean, like this weekend, GTP's on the King in Fort Wayne. It was, to me, it was like just racing it was like racing box stock years ago. I mean, you're just kind of micro blipping every corner. Okay, you're not running full punch like you might at Tracy.
Somebody's still going to figure out how to hook the car up, and they're going to
right
his ass. I mean,
right, and that's how I've always seen it. I mean, like overpowering a car to make it to where everyone has to drive the car more. Well, first of all, that puts it all back into the driver's hands. I mean, like if certain drivers have an advantage because of their driving, if you make everything more difficult, if you make it difficult for everyone else, including that guy's still going to shine because he's a better driver to begin with.
I feel like it puts it into the hands of the chassis builder and the setup too. Really,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole trick is always getting your horsepower hooked up, and even with limited horsepower, you still have to get that hooked up. And a lot of guys miss that boat completely
every race
because they run too hard of a tire. Or they just don't have maybe they've got their controller settings not right. Maybe they don't have the right body. I mean,
I guarantee if we went that route, Wonder Rubber sales would be way down.
Yes, right, because everybody would be on soft rubber again to hook up. And again, like I said, I mean, once one guy gets hooked up and figures it out, everyone's going to be chasing him, and then. I need more motor. Well, you got more motor. I mean, it's not like when we ran, okay, like, for example, when we ran Retro Angle Winder in Ohio Retro Series 5 years ago or whatever, we ran Group 12 motors in the angle winders. And usually in the first 2-minute heat of the race, there was usually 3 cars that were totally demolished. They were out of the race. And it was just a big wreck fest. And then
Right.
those cars were not grossly overpowered. They were overpowered for most guys. But
Yeah.
the top guys still won them, basically all the races.
Right.
Then a year or two later, we went to big dog motors, and we started having races where all 8 guys would finish the races because they had less horsepower, but they were more hooked up. And while they were still difficult to drive, they were still they were drivable, not out of control. And the Group 12 thing was out of control. So, yeah, I don't believe in. I don't like I always say, if cars are still coming off the track, they're overpowered.
Yeah, and almost everybody who makes that argument for overpowering the cars always points to Israel. Oh, Israel works. Israel works. But I mean, my God, those are like the best in the world at the Israel Worlds.
No, I mean it's Eurosport racing. I mean it's unlimited. Okay, you can't compare that.
Right. To what we're doing here.
I mean, if you really want to make a direct comparison, then run those cars on a king track and tell us all about it.
Yeah, right.
Because it's a little bit different running those on a flat track versus a high-speed bank track, which none of those guys ever want to do. They want to just keep them on the flat tracks.
Right, and so that's another thing why I don't think that 3 would work, right? Because if you want to put it more in the driver's hands, that's one thing you could do is say, let's go flat track racing everywhere. And who flat track races really? Not many places.
Right.
I got no problem with flat track racing, but I mean, there just isn't any.
Why? But it's not as popular as bank track racing.
Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is you go into most raceways that have a flat track and a bank track, there's more guys racing on the bank tracks than there are the flat track.
Sure.
Maybe there might be a couple of places that might be a little different, but for the most part.
Sure.
So the thing is, when average people have a choice, they're going to take the easier track, and that's where they want to race.
And that's why king tracks are so popular.
Right.
Because everyone feels like they got a shot.
Right. Now see if
they're so easy to get around.
For example, if you went to a raceway that only had a flat track and that's all there was in your area, and you want to race bad enough, you will figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
You have no choice. And yes, racing on a flat track will make you a better driver. I guarantee you that. But they're just not that popular. And, like you said, like the king track, I mean, it's the same rhythm. No matter if you race an American King or you race a Speedboat King, it's the same rhythm if you have to drive. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, like in road course racing, I think flat track racing would be more popular if they had a king track. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone had UK Blacks or everybody had MTTs, where this UK Black's a little different here in this turn and that turn compared to this one. It's still the same rhythm.
Right.
That could make that would make flat track racing way more popular.
If it was a little more standardized.
If there was a more standardized track or two.
Yeah.
Because like a hill climb, I mean, most hill climbs have the same rhythm. Most ovals have the same rhythm. King tracks have the same rhythm. But flat tracks, I mean, I don't even know if there's 2 of the same type of flat tracks in the United States anymore. When you look at all the flat tracks.
So many of them are a one-off,
Most of them are one-offs, right.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if there is anywhere.
I don't think there is anymore. So it's a little different. So it is what it is. But I just don't believe that overpowering cars is going to be the motor equalizer.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be what people think either. I mean, but hey, somebody's more than welcome to start it up.
Right. That's
try it out. Have a race.
That's what I posted to them today.
Prove everybody wrong, but
Right.
Nobody wants to do it. It seems like no matter what it is. So everybody wants to race, but nobody wants to put on the race.
Yep. This is true. So, got anything else?
Not really, no.
When you heading out for North Carolina?
Oh, that's undecided yet.
Okay.
It depends what I get done this week. Right now, everything's like too much to do and everything's going wrong. So,
Yep. I'm swamped under too. So, but I'm still planning on leaving Friday. So,
okay,
kind of same deal as last year.
right.
So, get there in the afternoon and
Get there, don't practice, kick everybody's ass, go home.
well, I don't know about that, but I mean, it'll be. I mean, like, I don't think it's going to be easy, but it's easier for me because I've already been there and raced on the track one time, so
Right. Yeah.
I know what to expect.
Yeah, that's the same. That's how I feel. I feel a lot better going into it this time.
When I went down there last August, it was kind of like it was a big unknown because I never. I mean, there again, that's a one-off track. You know,
Right.
yeah. That thing has a rhythm all of its own. I mean, it's even so. So again, I mean, it was just like a big unknown, and I mean, I did well, but I mean,
that's probably the most unique road course I've raced on that I can think of off the top of my head. It's pretty unique.
Okay, so you call it a road. I mean, it's not a flat track, but I mean,
bank track.
It's pretty much. I mean, I think there's more flat turns on it than there is bank turns, isn't there?
I don't know if you call them.
I mean, if you take the big bank away,
I think they got some banking in them.
Okay.
The only flat one might be the top turn.
The sweeper?
That might be flat.
What I call the sweeper?
I don't remember. I have to look at it. But I wouldn't consider that a flat track by any means.
Okay. Well, it's not really.
But it's one of the tougher bank tracks that I can recall racing on.
Well, to me, it wasn't really technical. It's just like it's a track where good habits are hard to break. Because like I always wanted to blip the sweeper turn. Like even though every lane is wide open, I still want to blip that thing because it just you come out of that and you think you need to blip it to. But it's hammered down. And I can remember being like starting off a heat and kind of blipping the first couple laps. And it's like, you got to hold it. Telling myself, you got to just hold it wide open.
You just got to get in a rhythm on that track, really.
Right.
I mean, it's such a rhythm track. You know, you just can't beat yourself is what the deal is. Because if you go down a lap, like, it's hard to make a lap.
It's a big lap to make up because it's like, what, 195-foot lap length?
Yeah, big lap to make up. And it's like you don't want to push to make up the lap because then you're just going to get yourself in another hole, you know?
Right. But no, it was a lot of fun to race on for sure.
Yeah, I really liked it. I can't wait to go back this weekend.
Yeah. So, and, locals are tough there too. So, I mean, they definitely know the track.
On there a lot.
Definitely know the track better than I do, but you did okay last year too. I mean,
yeah, I'm not complaining with how I did at all. So, I'd like to do one spot better.
Right, but like you'd went down for a warm up race and then went back a month or two later for the race, and
right.
So
in the warm up race, I mean, dude, I was like lost.
Right, because you've never been there.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you went back and you were more confident. That's like I said. I don't feel like I know it like the back of my hand, but I feel good about going down there because I know what to expect. Like I know. I mean, I can tell in a couple laps whether it's me or my car's off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because I've had experience on it. So, but no, it's a fun course, and those guys are fun to race with. I mean,
yeah, it should be an even bigger turnout this year than it was last year too. From
I think so. Yeah, it looks like it. So, and there's some other people going that didn't go last year. I'm pretty sure everybody that was there last year's coming back.
Right.
There's probably still another 6-7 guys that are going this year that didn't go last year. So, should be a good time.
Be another race.
You buying dinner at IHOP?
Is there an IHOP there?
Plastic or metal?
That was not this.
That was there because we went there after the race.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How do you go there after a race?
We went there on Saturday night after the race. Went to the IHOP, and we was asked if we wanted plastic or metal utensils.
Was that this place?
Yeah, and they brought the drinks out in the kitty cups.
Oh,
And
yeah, that must have been. Yeah, that must have been. Okay. Well, yeah, whatever. We'll go.
then go across the street and get lottery tickets.
No lottery tickets this year. So, all right.
Bringing your own energy drink. No, that's the place that was hard to find your drink too.
Yeah, I am bringing them. I'm gonna get like a
12-pack.
12-pack. So, all right. Well, that's all I got anyway.
That's all I got. So,
what? Oh, wait a minute. We gotta do a giveaway.
oh, that's right.
So we got a couple. Once again, Mid America Raceway and Mid America Products has donated some body poking harpoons, body pokers. You know, poke the hole like that.
Well, I was gonna look through here the other day.
Ron
and,
didn't catch that at all.
Find Dan Meyer's name because his name's in here. He's like, my name's not in there.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. So, Dan, your name's in there. There's just a whole bunch of other people in there. So,
And we're giving away 2 of them, right?
2 Mid-America body harpoons or body pokers, whatever you want to call them. So, that's an image I didn't need to see. All right. The first winner would be John Mattis.
Hey, there you go. Mr. Pin Jersey.
Mr. Pin Jersey. And the second one,
Now, do you think he's going to call and get his?
Chris Barnes.
Oh, there you go, Chris. All right.
Well, I think anytime you can get something free from Roger, you're going to call and get it.
All right. So there we go.
Body harpoon.
Contact Roger Schmidt, Mid-America, and he will ship you your body harpoons.
Yes, he will.
All right.
Yeah, I forgot about the giveaways. Okay, no biggie.
All right. What's the secret word of the show?
Secret word of the show. I thought about this earlier, but we'll just do braid because we talked about braid.
Okay.
I wonder how many guys kind of wait till the first person posts braid and then they just say braid. They don't watch the show.
Yeah, they're a bunch of cheaters. Well.
So, there you have it.
Because sometimes the show will come out. If the show's like an hour and 10 minutes, like 45 minutes later, somebody posts parade.
Yeah, they skipped forward.
So,
yep.
It's all good.
It's all good. Having fun.
Give us a click, so it's all good. All right, thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Be safe if you're traveling or racing. Have fun.
Yep. Goodbye.